It is another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the first 3 new releases for the summer 2009 movie season on May 1st, 2009. And, of course, last year we saw the beginning of a groundbreaking cinematic universe, thanks in large part to Iron Man. It was also the summer of The Dark Knight as well. It was a great summer for superhero movies, and sure enough, Marvel is opening up the summer once again with another big superhero movie, so let's see what they've got up their sleeves this time around. Let's see this year's Iron Man, ladies and gentlemen.
You can live knowing that the woman you loved was hunted down, or you can join me. Putting together a special team. I promise you will have your revenge. On May 1st, the summer begins. X-Men Origins Wolverine. This film is now rated May 1st.
I said this year's Iron Man, not this year's Batman and Robin. Yes, their big summer movie that was opening up the summer movie season was, of course, X-Men Origins Wolverine. And, considering that, Tom Rothman, the head of Fox, loved the character of Wolverine so much, and yet he hated the X-Men so much, you would think that he'd do everything he can to make this origin story of Wolverine work out in the movie, but prepare yourself to be extremely disappointed. Directed by Gavin Hood, this is a prequel to the X-Men film trilogy, focusing on the violent past between the mutant Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, and his relationship with his brother, Victor Creed, played by Lee Schreiber. The plot also details Wolverine's early encounters with Major William Stryker, played by Danny Huston, his time with Team X, and the bonding of Wolverine's skeletons with the indestructible metal adamantium during the Weapon X program. And yeah, this movie took the origin story of one of the coolest characters in superhero history and completed a totally fabricated story of how Wolverine came to be that is literally just a ripoff of Universal Soldier. That's not even a joke. That's the biggest problem with the movie. You took the origin of one of the most badass characters in superhero history and dumped it into a plot that you'd see out of a Universal Soldier's movie. I mean, this is a film that somebody once said was literally a Universal Soldier movie when they reviewed it, and that's exactly what this is. It's unbelievable how bad this movie is. This script is filled with so many bad cliches that we've seen done in action movies before. We've got the death of the lover who's not really dead and is working for the bad guy. And we've got the government going after the hero. We got people walking away from explosions. It's all here. And it just shows the piss-poor effort they went to writing this film. I mean, it gets so lazy that they literally throw in... I'll get to that in just a second here, because we'll save that for a little bit later on in here, but... It's all that is in this movie, and it just shows the piss-poor effort they went into making this movie. And you'd think by 2009 we'd get away from these, but nope. They went down the route of Batman and Robin and Superman 4: The Quest for Peace to make the worst 4th movie in a superhero installment possible. And yeah, I mean, we really should but in all honesty, we probably should have expected that from the same person that wrote Swordfish and Hitman. Not the best movies you want to be associated with if you're coming in to do this. The action is lazy and unnecessary. It felt like they throw in useless action all over this movie for no reason but to just keep your attention on whatever garbage is on the screen. And it has no purpose or no conjunction with the script whatsoever. Like, this script is one of the most abysmal things I've ever seen in my life played out on a big screen. The sets are also terrible. You look at the sets that they used to film this on, and you think, where did the $190 million to go on this movie? Like, you spent $190 million, and this is the best you can come up with? Like, these looks like something out of a high school play production. My high school that I went to, that's down the street from me, could do a better production than this movie does. And this doesn't cost. They're not using $190 million of a studio budget to make the film. Like, I can't believe how bad these sets are in here. Like, where did it all go? Did it go into the pockets of Hugh Jackman? Possibly, because Hugh Jackman is the biggest star in this movie. I mean, he was hosting the Oscars that year, so I guess his star power was all the way up. It basically said, I'm not doing this until I get a good payday, so here you go, we'll put that into the budget, because I have no idea where $190 million went to this pile of garbage. But let's get back to the story and the script, which... My biggest problem with this movie comes from the script and the elements they bring into the story of Wolverine, including trying to make him indestructible by making him destructible. How's that supposed to work? Like, seriously, you're going to make him indestructible, so let's make him destructible. How does that even work? It makes no sense whatsoever. Then you got to have Wolverine making the X when he breaks out of Stryker's lab, because that's a trailer shot right there. And instead of it just being a trailer shot, no, we got to put it in the movie. Even though that did not happen when we saw the original origin story in the X-Men movies. We've already seen this part of the storyline. Now you're just changing it because you're trying to make it look cool and all that. But the biggest one of all, the biggest one that made me go, "What the hell were you thinking?" Wolverine spends time on a farm with a couple a la Superman. Not even a joke. That is the biggest fuck you of this movie, when you literally have to steal from your direct competitor with Superman. Not even a comic book character from Marvel. You had to go to DC and rip off the Superman storyline. At this point, DC Comics should have every right to sue your asses for what you did to them. And while they're at it, they should also sue the makers of the 94 Fantastic Four movie for ripping off the Superman cartoon as well, because that happened in that movie too. And the casting in here is just really bizarre. You've got good actors in here. Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth should have been awesome, but he's really just lackluster, and he's not even trying in here. Like, there's a part where, Wolverine walks away, and of course his name is Jimmy, and, Liev Schreiber is just standing there with the blankest expression screaming, "Jimmy! Jimmy! Jimmy!" You want to try again? You want to try to get some more emotions in there, buddy? Lynn Collins as Kayla Silverfox. Talk about one of the most blandest characters ever. This is not a bad actress, and there's a good idea of what to do with her. But no, we got to make her work with a bad guy. Why? Because we got to have a plot here. I mean, her entire character in this movie makes no sense whatsoever, and there's potential there, but it's just a bland character who's just there to lure the character with the bad guy, Danny Huston's William Stryker, who is Saturday morning cartoonishly evil in this. Like, he's not even a legitimate threat in this movie. It's unbelievable how you wasted not only this great actor, but this performance on here, and just all the other characters in here are bad. Taylor Kitsch as Gambit is really bad. Will.i.am as John Wraith, Kevin Durant as the Blob. I mean, the Blob was just awful watching this movie, and they had to throw in the cheap jokes in there. Blob, Dominic Monaghan as Chris Bradley, and Scott, the two biggest ones, of course, Scott Adkins as Weapon X, and of course, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. I don't think I need to explain why both of them are so terrible, but I think they've been done to death before so many times, and hey, Ryan Reynolds got his revenge on this in Deadpool at the end of Deadpool 2, so there you go. And Deadpool and Wolverine got to work together in a much better movie than this. I mean, this movie does not do anything in this movie with these characters except for fan service. I mean, Patrick Stewart as Professor X shows up in here. It's the worst makeup I have ever seen in my life. Like, they're trying to make it look like he's younger, but it doesn't even look like him. He looks like the dude from Die Another Day, except if you shave his head off. Like, that's how bad it looked. Like, and then the bad guy in Die Another Day was an Asian, too. So they made Patrick Stewart look like a freaking Asian in this movie. Like, is there anything about this movie that's worth it? I guess maybe Hugh Jackman, because, yeah, it's Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. He's still awesome. Even with all the stuff that's going on in this movie, Wolverine, the character himself, is still badass. And I give Hugh Jackman all the credit in the world for sticking with this terrible script and not staying away from what we love about him as Wolverine, because he's the one thing that's holding this together to some form of relevancy. But other than that, though, there's absolutely nothing about X-Men Origins Wolverine that works at all. This fails on so many levels. It was clearly made by people who had no intentions on following the actual origins of Wolverine and just decided to throw in the most cliched action plot ever into a piss-poor superhero movie that nearly killed the X-Men franchise for all times. I mean, this is still the worst X-Men movie ever. Now, granted, I've never seen the New Mutants, but actually, no, I might take that back, because we've had Dark Phoenix. Dark Phoenix was terrible. So was X-Men Apocalypse, which I would probably put this... I'd actually probably put this ahead of those two movies, honestly. So now, yeah, it's no longer the worst X-Men movie, but this nearly killed the X-Men franchise. And, it's a movie where it just doesn't work at all. It's a terrible movie, and it's a perfect fitting conclusion to Tom Rothman completely fucking over the fan bases of three beloved franchises in the early part of 2009, because he fucked over the fans of Street Fighter, he fucked over the fans of Dragon Ball, and then he fucked over the fans of X-Men, which, the fact that he loves Wolverine and this is the best he can come up with, I really don't think he likes Wolverine. This is like the equivalent of M. Night Shyamalan saying, "Oh, I love Avatar: The Last Airbender. Let me make a movie off of that," and then he makes one of the worst movies of all time. But that's next summer, though. But There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the way we start off the summer of 2009 with X-Men Origins Wolverine. Certainly not the best way to begin the summer, but maybe we can turn the tide around with our next movie. Matthew McConaughey and Jennifer Garner starring in the romantic comedy Ghost of Girlfriend's Past.
You know where I come out on all this. To me, love is a myth.
This always happens. All scotch, no carbs.
On May 1st, you're going to be visited by 3 ghosts.
I'm going to take you through all your past girlfriends.
Ooh.
Relive your past.
I have a medical condition.
What's your medical condition?
Broken heart.
And change your future.
You're supposed to be with me. She was always supposed to be with me.
Matthew McConaughey, Jennifer Garner, Ghosts of Girlfriends Past. Rated PG-13. Starts May 1st at a theater near you.
So if I was to tell you that on a weekend where you have a new X-Men movie with Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine in the focus of it, and you have a Matthew McConaughey romantic comedy, which movie would you probably say was going to be the better movie? Your first guess probably would have been X-Men Origins Wolverine, but believe it or not, this is the best movie that came out this weekend. This is the film that you look at and it's just like, wait, you're picking the Matthew McConaughey romantic comedy over Wolverine? What the hell's wrong with you? Well, I've already talked about why X-Men Origins Wolverine is so terrible, but let me tell you why Ghost of Girlfriend's Past is a fantastic movie. This is probably my favorite Matthew McConaughey romantic comedy he ever did, and probably one of his best movies overall. And it's a really interesting concept overall. In the film, you have him playing Connor Mead, a photographer and a womanizing bachelor who returns to his family's estate for the wedding of his brother Paul to Sandra, Paul being played by Breckin Meyer, to Sandra, played by Lacey Chabert. Then he encounters Jenny Parati, played by Jennifer Garner, from her girlfriend and childhood sweetheart who has served as wedding planner. Connor offends most of the guests by declaring his disdain for romance and marriage and attempting to convince Paul not to go through with the wedding. That evening, he is visited by the ghost of his late uncle, played by Michael Douglas, who raised him after his parents' death in a car accident and mentored him in the ways of womanizing. Wayne tells Connor that he will be visited by 3 ghosts that night, and we'll learn something important about himself. So, as you can tell, as you can guess, the rest of the story involves Connor's interaction with the 3 ghosts. The Ghost of Girlfriend's Past, played by Emma Stone, the Ghost of Girlfriend Present, played by Noreen DeWolf, who plays his assistant, and the Ghost of Girlfriend's Future, played by Olga Maliok, and eventually tries to convince everybody he's changed by the end of the movie. So yeah, obviously this is basically a romantic comedy equivalent to A Christmas Carol, the Charles Dickens story. And I've said before that A Christmas Carol is one of my all-time favorite stories of all time. I love watching all the adaptations of this. I mean, this is one of my favorite stories of all time, and needless to say, if I had to choose the better adaptation of the story, we're going to have a Christmas Carol version coming out at the end of the year, which is really good, but this really is my favorite story my favorite one of the 2 in 2009. This was a really good movie. Like, I was actually amazed and blown away at how much I really enjoyed this movie. And I'm the type of guy that hates Matthew McConaughey's romantic comedies. We all did at some point. He was making some really bad movies, Failure to Launch, Fool's Gold. I mean, this guy could be a really good actor. We've seen it early in his career and stuff like Boys on the Side and A Time to Kill and Contact and Amistad. I mean, this guy was a solid actor. And then he just kind of fell down this rabbit hole where he had no choice but to star in terrible romantic comedies, and every once in a while he'd have one which wasn't terrible, like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days wasn't the best, but it was certainly better than some of the ones he'd do later on. But what this movie does that works is trying to create a movie based off of a Christmas story and not bring Christmas time up whatsoever. The movie is set in the winter time, and you never hear about it being Christmas time one time in this movie. And that credit, I think, should go to the writers of this movie, John Lucas and Scott Moore, who will have a much bigger success later on down the road with The Hangover in the month. And Matthew McConaughey's character is not as harsh as Ebenezer Scrooge is, but he is nothing but a jackass and a scoundrel in the first 2/3 of the movie, and that's what I kind of like about him in this movie. At first, you want to hate him for being such a douchebag, because, yeah, he is kind of a douchebag who just wants to bang a ton of women. There's a great opening scene in there that's really funny where, he's breaking up with 3 different women on a conference call of all things. On a conference call of all things, while he has a girl in the back, played by Christina Milian, which is really funny. I love the fact that he's trying to cover it up with cover the computer with the camera on there and saying, like, don't listen to them, they're crazy. And the girl's just like, hey, we can still hear you even if you don't have the camera on them, because the mic is still on. Just like, stuff like that works really well in this movie, and I like that. At first, you do want to hate him because he is being such a douchebag, but surely as time goes on, and he's shown all the memories and all the guilt that he's causing to everyone around him, and what it'll eventually lead up to, you do root for him in a way. And it also should be noted that Matthew McConaughey is in a romantic comedy where he doesn't take his shirt off every 20 seconds. I mean, yeah, we get it. The guy's got 6-pack abs that are there. I mean, I certainly don't have that, but he does. And like, we get it. We don't need you to take your damn shirt off every 20 seconds because that kind of makes you look like a douchebag. And what's interesting about this movie and the parallels to his career going after this is just the fact that, you know, this is very similar to what happened to Bill Murray with Scrooge. I mean, Scrooge is essentially a comedy, but there is those dramatic elements to it where you realize that Bill Murray's not just playing the guy from Ghostbusters. This guy has range as an actor. I mean, he tried to do a drama after Ghostbusters came out with The Razor's Edge, which wasn't a big hit, and wasn't really a great movie overall, but his performance really did show that this guy has some potential as a dramatic actor that would later be seen in Lost in Translation and Broken Flowers and a number of great dramatic movies. And here, Matthew McConaughey's kind of in that pathway too. After this, he didn't do another romantic comedy after this movie, as far as I know. Yeah, this was actually the last romantic comedy he ever did. I mean, he was in other comedies, like the Sing movies, of course, playing Buster the Koala. But after this, what was his next movie? The Lincoln Lawyer. What was the next movie after that? Bernie, Killer Joe, Mud, Magic Mike, The Paperboy, the movie where he won the Oscar with Dallas Buyers Club, The Wolf of Wall Street, Interstellar, Kubo and the Two Strings. Like, he makes all these movies. Not a single comedy is in that slate whatsoever. Like, it's amazing how this was the movie that really turned it around for him. And I'm really happy to see that. At least we got one really good romantic comedy out of him with this movie. And it also helps that he's got a really good supporting cast around him. Jennifer Garner's pretty good in here. Michael Douglas, Emma Stone as the ghost of girlfriends past, Robert Forster, Ann Archer, Breckin Meyer, Lacey Chabert. They all work really well. And you do buy into the chemistry of McConaughey and Garner. You do believe that these two were childhood lovers at one point, and then they kind of steered away, but they still have affections for each other. It plays very well. Their chemistry is really good, and I've always said it. Good chemistry between your two stars is the key to a good romantic comedy. Even the blandest, most bad romantic comedy can benefit with good chemistry between your two stars. And both McConaughey and Garner really have that in this movie. And it also helps you've got a really good director, Mark Waters, who did Freaky Friday and Mean Girls, and then he also did the underappreciated Just Like Heaven. This guy knows how to make good romantic comedies. So yeah, and there are a lot of flaws to the movie. It's not a perfect movie, and even then, the biggest flaw with the movie, it does go with the same rom-com cliches we've seen done to death before. There's got to be the misunderstanding. There's got to be the awkward hello. There's got to be the X factor. I mean, unless you can do something different with it, don't use it. Just try to be original with this film as much as you can. But here's the thing that really bugs me about this movie overall, and the fact that the predictable romantic comedies make $100 million at the box office, and even the bad ones, but this movie barely made $55 million. I mean, it's bad, but when you consider it opened up on X-Men Origins Wolverine opened up, I mean, considering that, it still did a whole lot better. And I think this movie would have done a lot better if it had been released on the holidays or Valentine's weekend. I feel like this could have been a really good Valentine's movie to open up on this one. Is like if you open up where he's just not into you open up on. I feel like this movie could have done so much better. It's a film that deserved to do much better because it is a really good movie. It's a very entertaining film. It has a lot of flaws, but it's still a very pleasant, surprising movie. I mean, this is the best Matthew McConaughey has been in a romantic comedy. The chemistry between him and Jennifer Garner is great. The movie works really well. There's a lot of funny moments. I like the new take of A Christmas Carol they try to do outside of Christmas. I mean, the flaws in the film are in there, but they are kind of the usual predictable rom-com cliches. And, I mean, they've been done before, yes, but it doesn't ruin the ebb and flow of the movie. I honestly would say it's one of the stronger romantic comedies to come out in the last 20 years. I think it's a much better movie than people let on. It's a great new take on A Christmas Carol, and it can be viewed any time of the year and really enjoyed. Kind of like how high concept comedies with Bill Murray, like Scrooge and Groundhog Day, gave him a chance to do more dramatic roles in his comedies, and he went on to become a really good dramatic actor with the films I talked about before, Lost in Translation and Broken Flowers. I mean, McConaughey has been on a hot streak since this movie came out, with The Lincoln Lawyer, his Oscar-winning turn in Dallas Buyers Club, and True Detective. I mean, so many great films that he's been in since then, and you can really say that it started with this movie because of the fact that, he wasn't just doing the typical rom-comedy trope that he used to do all the time. Like, he has evolved as an actor and gone back to his roots, and it paid off big time for him that decade with an Oscar win and much more respectability from his peers and his fans in general. This is a film that's definitely worth another look at, man. Ghost of Girlfriend's Past is a really damn good movie. One I highly recommend checking out. It's one of the best romantic comedies of the last 20 years. It's one I highly recommend checking out. Definitely seek this one out if you can. Ghost of Girlfriend's Past. Watch it. You'll enjoy it. So let's go ahead and move back to some garbage as we wrap this one up here, and that is The Battle for Terra.
Men and women of Earth Force, the future depends on us.
On the planet Terra. What is that? Lies mankind's last hope.
The mistake would be not to act. Now.
Oh dear.
On me first.
Fire at that ship! Down now. No need for violence.
An ultimate 3D battle
Return fire!
begins. Battle for Terra. Rated PG in theaters and really 3D May 1st.
By God, they tried. I mean, they really did try with this movie, but yeah, trying didn't help you out in the long run on this one. It's another one of those movies from a very small studio. Lionsgate was at the time. I mean, trying to copy in the footsteps of Disney and DreamWorks, trying to make the next big 3D CG extravaganza, and this just wasn't it, man. And once again, one of those movies that was put in 3D after the production had been completed. And it kind of hurts in the long run here. You have a story that's based on a short film of the same name about a race of beings on a peaceful alien planet who face destruction from colonization by the displaced remainder of the human race. And you have a cast that includes Evan Rachel Wood, Brian Cox, James Garner, Luke Wilson, Chris Evans, Danny Glover, Amanda Peet, David Cross, Justin Long, Dennis Quaid, Luke Wilson, and yeah, it's one of those movies where, again, they tried to copy the DreamWorks formula, the Disney formula. Let's pack in as many stars as we can, and let's put the movie in 3D, even though this was not made for 3D release, and the results speak for themselves. But this is definitely one of the better attempts to try to create something, and it almost gets there, but it falls into pretty much the same problem that not just with animated movies that are trying to start new franchises, but sci-fi films that are trying to start new franchises have a lot of trouble with. Like, they already feel like they got to plan ahead for future movies before they even work on the first damn movie. That's the biggest problem with a movie like this. Like, this is a film that's clearly setting itself up for a series of movies that's never going to come. They never made any sequels to this. The film was a massive flop at the box office, and yeah, they can make the argument and say that, oh, well, we opened it up on the same weekend as Wolverine and Matthew McConaughey's new romantic comedy. Yeah, you knew it was going to be bad from the get-go, and that's why you put it on there in the first damn place. And yeah, lo and behold, the film didn't end up working out in anyone's favor. And again, there are some good ideas in here, and the animation isn't terrible overall, but it's when they have to go down that route of, we got to copy the same stuff that's been done in other sci-fi movies of every kind, and we got to set up for a sequel that will never happen. That's where the movie kind of loses me, and let's just pack it in with all these big stars, because the stars are what make the movie in general. I mean, clearly that's the case, because, you see it now with DreamWorks' animated movies and Disney's animated films. Oh, wait, they don't do that, because Disney and DreamWorks are reliable names at this point. I mean, they don't have to put all the names on there. Even Sony Pictures didn't have to do that at one point. I mean, they did early on with Open Season. You saw Martin Lawrence and Ashton Kutcher's name on there, but I don't think they did it with Surf's Up, nor did they do it with the film that comes out later in the year with Cloudy and the Chance of Meatballs. I mean, this is a film that's trying so hard to be up there with those tier studios, but they didn't think about working on this one film first and then advancing it to a potential sequel. Like, set it up for a potential sequel after this movie's probably going to make money, because this thing didn't make any money. It came and went, and it's a small budgeted film, and I'll give it this, for a small budgeted film, it looked pretty much better than something like Delgo. I mean, for an $8 million movie, this looks a lot better than the $50 million Delgo did. I mean, Delgo's one of those ones where it's just like, where did $50 million go on that pile of garbage? So yeah, overall, a film that's better than it probably should have been, but not enough for me to say it's one you should check out. Biggest problem with it is it's trying to set up too much stuff for a series of films instead of just focusing on the one movie in general. And even the stuff that they have in here, it's not enough to save the film at all. It's a predictable, bland story. The animation is better than should be, and yeah, some of the voice acting is okay, but other than that, though, I'm never going to watch this movie ever again, so So yeah, mostly negative, but mixed opinion on Battle for Terra. Yeah, so go ahead and avoid that one.
Space. The final frontier.
I mean, that trailer that came out in front of Cloverfield over a year and a half ago really got people more excited than they possibly could have imagined. Because what they were saying about the Star Trek movie while it was in production was not really sounding too promising. You were going to get these, mostly, it was going to reboot it with a younger cast. You had people like, Chris Pine and Zoe Saldana and Carl Urban from Pathfinders. Simon Pegg was probably the biggest name that everyone was really looking forward to, but it felt like they were starting anew, and it kind of felt similar to when Batman '89 came out, and Michael Keaton was cast as Batman, and there was this huge, backlash against him. But it's important to keep in mind that Star Trek around this time was kind of off of most people's radar. Star Trek Nemesis failed at the box office, and Enterprise only ended its run with 4 seasons, which for a Star Trek series to do that, that's not very good for them in general. And Star Trek spent much of the 2000s mostly off of people's radars. There wasn't much of the franchise anymore for a lot of people, and it would take a miracle of all miracles to bring Star Trek back to its proper place in sci-fi history. And then Batman Begins came out, which became the first major reboot, rebooting the Batman franchise after Batman and Robin, and thus the reboot trend was born. We got the James Bond reboot with Casino Royale after that, and then you had 2 big successes on that hand, and so they were becoming a trend, but no reboot proved to be more surprisingly successful and critically beloved than what J.J. Abrams did with Star Trek. I mean, this guy came into this as somebody who was a fan of Star Wars and brought his own unique vision to the world of Star Trek in general, and, essentially the story here is that it's a reboot of the TV series, which portrays a new cast in the first of the rebooted series, following James T. Kirk, played by Chris Pine, and Spock, played by Zachary Quinto from Heroes, aboard the USS Enterprise as they combat Nero, played by Eric Bana, a Romulan from their future who threatens the United Federation of Planets. The story takes place in an alternate reality because of time travel by both Nero and the original Spock, played by Leonard Nimoy. The alternate timeline was created in an attempt to free the film and franchise from established continuity constraints while simultaneously preserving original story elements. So J.J. Abrams and his guys really put a lot of hard work to make this stand out among most reboots in general, because, they were taking stuff from the original films, but they were also trying to create their own unique vision of what the Star Trek world could be like under J.J. Abrams. And they were very confident in this. I mean, there was a whole thing where they would show this off it's the months before this movie came out. There'd be like special previews all across the world. I mean, Austin, Texas got to see Star Trek a month before everybody else did. Leonard Nimoy was there at the premiere because it was supposed to be a premiere of Star Trek, a re-release of Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. And then Leonard Nimoy comes out as Spock, and Spock's just going like, "You're only going to show him the first 10 minutes?" Because what were they going to do? They were going to show the first 10 minutes of the Star Trek movie, and he was just like, "You going to show him the first 10 minutes? Why don't we just go ahead and show you the whole thing?" And so then, some people, a lucky group of people, got to see that movie before anybody else did. And then the movie came out, and lo and behold, what followed after that was pretty amazing. Because, this was a really damn good movie. This is a film that really... This couldn't have been more perfect how they handled this. I mean, if there's ever been a better franchise to do a reboot with, it's Star Trek. I mean, with time travel being a major part of the franchise, you can pretty much do whatever you want to with Star Trek. Okay, almost anything, but it works because it works. It ended up becoming the second best Star Trek film after The Wrath of Khan. I mean, that's how high I would put this up there with. I mean, this is right up there with the best Star Trek film, Wrath of Khan. And it works because everything about it just works so well. And like with Michael Keaton and Batman, once people saw the movie, all the naysayers, all the negative people coming out against the casting in this, shut their mouths up because everybody played their parts well to a T. Chris Pine was great as Kirk. Zachary Quinto was great as Spock. Zoe Saldana was great as I just had her name. Why can't I remember her name? Uhura. Carl Urban as Bones. That was the one that everyone was really shocked at. Carl Urban made a great Dr. McCoy in this movie. I mean, my God, that was just... Talk about pitch-perfect casting. I mean, he was... And that made people realize that, hey, Carl Urban's actually much cooler than we thought he was. I mean, yeah. Because, of course, he followed up with Dredd and then The Boys. I mean, this guy... With this movie, this really turned him around and made him more into a bigger name than most people expected him to be, and turned out to be a pretty good actor overall. But then you have people like Simon Pegg, who was great as Scotty, you know, Anton Yelchin playing Chekhov, John Cho as Sulu. You know, everybody played their parts very well. Bruce Greenwood playing Pike. I mean, this is a solid cast overall, and the way they connect this to the original series by having Leonard Nimoy in here, kind of being the voice of reason and telling this young Kirk that, you know, in the future we're going to be friends. And yeah, because in the beginning, Kirk and Spock hate each other, and you know, it's, you know, slowly but surely they start to come together and realize that, you know, they may not get along on so many other things, but they have that connection that is going to help them become much better people than they ended up being the first time they saw each other. And the movie just works. The movie just works on so many levels. It's such an impressive looking film. The visuals are incredible. The music by Michael Giacchino is top notch. I mean, J.J. Abrams did his homework with this movie, and he did not disappoint at all. This is about as good of a reboot as you could possibly imagine, and it was such a great movie. It helped to reignite Star Trek for this new generation. The sequels, unfortunately, didn't quite live up to what this movie was setting up for. Into Darkness, I thought, was not as good, but I thought they turned it around a little bit with Star Trek Beyond at the end, and that's kind of where the series ended up with, only with 3 movies. But hey, we still got a really damn good movie out of this one here. You could tell that J.J. Abrams and his crew put a lot of work into this to make this stand out as something that is their own, but is also pretty much a great love letter to the Star Trek series in general, and it did not disappoint by any means necessary. It's a terrific film, an incredible film. I love the hell out of it. It's one of the best movies that came out that year. Star Trek definitely is something you have to see. Even if you're not a big Star Trek fan, you'll love the hell out of this movie. It's a great film. So, what movie had the nerve and the audacity to go up against Star Trek that weekend? Let's take a look at this weekend's counter-programming, and that is Next Day Air.
Hey, what's up, ladies? Oh, my bad. I thought y'all was hookers.
It's not like if we were, you could afford us anyway.
If we was, we couldn't afford us.
Miss Jackson wants to see you in her office right now.
If I get one call about you, you are fired.
You gonna fire me?
Mom, don't mommy me.
How many hands you think I touch these boxes for weekend?
More than that.
These Americans steal something. How you gonna get fired, man? I wish they would. I'd be on Larry King crying. This is terrible discrimination.
How many did you sign?
You get anything today? Nope. You sure? Yep.
What is this?
Apartment 303. What's across the hall?
I know this ain't what I think it is.
It is, yo! Oh, am I screaming?
I know who we can sell it to.
Bingo.
Go. Now put 150 grand in your pocket today.
Man.
I need to count that money. It's crazy. Hello? You got it, right?
What? It ain't come here. The delivery dude, he stole it.
We're gonna need more of these.
Listen, I'm gonna work.
Ay, Dios mío.
Yo, that's him right there.
Turn around.
All the way.
I don't even think that's him.
It's not me.
Turn around.
You said all the way. Can I say one thing?
What?
I like your outfit. You look very nice.
10 people.
My bad. Good thanks.
24 hours.
That's what I'm saying.
Only one way to survive.
School's out. Recess is over.
Think inside the box.
Yo, what's up? I dropped the box off here. It's the wrong address. So did that. Well, we did have it.
Let's go, let's go, let's go! You want one? Damn! Next day air.
I'll use the same thing I said about Battle for Terror last time around. By God, it tried, because, yeah, this movie clearly was trying to be another, a knockoff of Guy Ritchie's, stuff like Rock and Roller, Guy Ritchie movies like Rock and Roller, Smoking Aces, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, that type of stuff. But, yeah, it just didn't come together. Two criminals accidentally accept a package of cocaine, which they must sell before the real owner finds it missing. And then chaos and hilarity ensues, or at least that's what this movie thinks it's trying to do, and it just doesn't work. I mean, this is another one of those movies where you've got talent there. Donald Faison, Mike Epps, Wood Harris, Amari Hardwick, Mos Def. I mean, the cast is really good in here. The premise could be something good, but not with a script like this. The script overall, it doesn't know if it wants to be that Guy Ritchie knockoff movie or it wants to be a mainstream stoner comedy. I mean, it can't decide between one or the other, and when that happens, most of the time the movie comes out to not be any good whatsoever. And again, it's a shame, because this director, I mean, he's a guy who came from music videos. He's a guy that's making his feature directorial debut, and this is the best he could come up with. I mean, this doesn't even look like a film from this director who made music videos for Nicki Minaj, Kanye West, like all these different musicians, and it doesn't feel like he's creating a look to him that could stand out over most other films of this type in particular. That style that he has as a director that is seen in his music videos just isn't in here. This feels like a film that could have easily been directed by anybody, and you wouldn't have been able to know the difference of what kind of person that director is. Hell, I could have directed this, and even I would have been like, yeah, this looks about as bland and generic as you could possibly get, because that's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like a movie that has a unique visual style to it, or anything that creative about it at all. It just feels like it's just there, and there's just nothing about it that makes it stand out. The humor isn't really all that funny. The jokes are kind of lazy. The set pieces aren't that good in general. It's just not a very good movie. It's a film that wastes a lot of good talent on screen. A good director who could have made a really good film career out of it, but the films he chose after this have not been as great either. This is the guy that did the Tupac Shakur biopic, All Eyes on Me, and then he did the SWAT direct-to-video sequel. Yeah, not a good track record overall. You can tell why he went back strictly to directing music videos and TV shows, because filmmaking obviously was not his repertoire, unfortunately. And Next Day Air is one of those movies that shows that, yeah, clearly was not going to work on any level, shape, or form. Even if it was trying to be like a blaxploitation ripoff, like is homage, like this movie, like some people have been saying it's a blaxploitation homage, but I mean, you can't really see it with this movie in general. So yeah, a hard skip on Next Day Air, unfortunately.
Attack from an old enemy. Find Professor London.
He exposed one of the greatest cover-ups in human history. But what would make the Vatican turn to him?
That's Illuminati. They were a secret society dedicated to scientific truth. So the church ordered a brutal massacre. They've come for their revenge. There's a hidden trail through Rome itself. I need access to the Vatican archives.
Access is only by written decree by the Holy Father.
Tell us, you called me.
On May 15th, to stop a threat 500 years in the making.
If I can find that coded path, we can stop it.
He must uncover one of mankind's greatest secrets.
You're talking about the moment of creation. My God.
Tom Hanks. Hey! In a Ron Howard film.
This is it. This is the truth.
Angels and Demons. Rated PG-13.
By the way, how fitting is it that we got to this movie just 2 days after Pope Francis died? No joke. This is being recorded on April 23rd, 2025, and 2 days ago we lost Pope Francis, who died at 88 years old, and they're currently looking for a new pope as we speak. And sure enough, the plot of this movie is sort of almost very similar to this movie, but Tom Hanks is back once again as Professor Robert Langdon, while Ayet Zuller from Vantage Point stars as Dr. Vittoria Vitra, a CERN scientist who joins Langdon in the quest to recover a missing vial of antimatter from a mysterious Illuminati terrorist. And my god, this is really fucking stupid. I mean, this is one of the dumbest movies I've ever seen in my entire life. And just the fact that, I mean, here's the thing. With the Da Vinci Code, I got it. I got why you made the movie off of it. I mean, it was one of the best, most beloved books of all time. It was a massive, successful book overall. You got a film with Tom Hanks and Ron Howard. The buzz was already building on that. It was a controversial book. The movie was seen as controversial. It may have not been a good movie, but I could see why it was such a big hit with everybody. Now you're just pushing your luck here, because, my god, this movie makes it even worse than the original Da Vinci Code. I mean, it's basically turned this guy into a Jason Bourne, James Bond-esque type of hero that isn't anywhere near as cool as those guys are. And you would think with a movie with Ron Howard directing it, and a script by David Coep and Akiva Goldsman, and a cast that includes Tom Hanks, Ewan McGregor, Stellan Skarsgård, you'd think you'd have something here, and they just don't. This is a movie that is just so unbelievably over-the-top ridiculous. I mean, this makes the National Treasure movies look more realistic by comparison. And those movies were god-awful. But this, wow, this was bad. I couldn't believe how terrible this was. I mean, this is a really, really bad movie. I mean, it's a lazy film. It's a film that is just a bland, generic action movie. But because it has the name Angels and Demons, because it has the name Dan Brown attached to it, the man who wrote the Da Vinci Code, we got to make it a bigger deal than it has to be. And it's not a good movie. It really is not a good movie. And I love these people that are involved in this, but they deserved a lot better than this. And the fact that this series became a franchise, like, nobody cared after the Da Vinci Code. Literally, the last film that came 7 years later, nobody was asking for that film. I mean, with this, you can make the argument that, yeah, it was coming off of the Da Vinci Code. I mean, that film was a big success, so hopefully they thought they were going to lightning was going to strike twice on this one, and it just didn't. And it doesn't help that the film is just so bland, so boring, so uneventful. The mystery isn't even all that interesting in this movie. That's how bad it is with this. Like, if you can't sucker your audience into this and get them more vested, you've lost the point of making the movie, except that you're just making it for that money, that quick buck. And sure enough, it did make money. It was the 9th highest grossing film of the year, despite the bad reviews. And, I mean, it did what it had to do, and we got the sequel 7 years too late. I mean, at that point, nobody gave a shit about this. And quite frankly, I was surprised that somebody actually gave a crap to go see this one and make it the hit that it was. So, yeah, I didn't like this one. I mean, I've never liked these Da Vinci Code movies. But at least with the first one, I understand its purpose for existing. This, I feel like they were just pushing their luck with this one. Yeah, that's Angels and Demons. This weekend overall was not a good week for movies. We'll get to the best one of the three we have here a little bit later on here, but let's move on to the next movie. Let's see if we can turn the tide around with Management with Jennifer Aniston and Steve Zahn.
Management. You have a great butt.
Do you do this a lot?
Very rarely.
Once you find love,
I thought, I'm just gonna go for it.
With me.
it's hard to let go.
Feel like breaking.
Jennifer Aniston, Steve Zahn, Woody Harrelson.
What are you doing? That just looks like you're kissing him.
Management, rated R, in theaters May 15th.
Well, you can obviously tell from that trailer that this movie didn't leave much of a lasting impact. You know, I've heard this had some of the worst trailers out there, and judging by what I saw there, I wouldn't put it past them. But I saw the movie, and it is better than the trailers let on. Is it a great movie? Not really. You have Steve Zahn starring as a man who works at his parents' motel in Kingman, population 27,000 on Old Route 66. Jennifer Aniston plays Sue, who sells art for a Baltimore firm decorations for office walls. He took one look at her from behind as she registers at the motel and determines to connect. He's sweet but hapless, with no ambition other than spending time with her. She's enigmatic, rarely smiling, occasionally impulsive, committed to helping homeless people, feeling the clock tick after a breakup with a boyfriend who could have provided security. Is there any way he stands a chance with her? What could he offer? Could you maybe offer a better movie than what we got? I mean, like I said, this isn't a bad movie, and the trailers made this look a whole lot worse than it actually was. It's not that bad. but it's not that great either. It's a movie where the only thing that's holding it together are the performances by Jennifer Aniston and Steve Zahn. These are two really good actors, and I feel like even in this movie they're kind of half-assing it a little bit, but they're the ones who are at least still giving it life and giving it a reason to exist. Woody Harrelson overall I thought was probably the best thing about the movie. It was a pretty good year for him because he had this, Zombieland, The Messenger coming out in the fall. I mean, it was a really good year for him to show that, hey, this guy can still be really damn good as an actor, and he really is one of the stronger things about the movie. I just feel like those bad trailers really pushed everybody away, because that was a rough trailer I had to sit through right there. And, yeah, overall, meh. Can't really recommend it. Can't really say it's a bad movie. Just a mostly mixed opinion on this one. So, let's get to overall the best movie of the entire week, and that is Rian Johnson's The Brothers Bloom.
The last one. I'll never ask you to do another kind again.
Twee broers op jacht naar de perfecte klus.
Penelope's stamp, our final mark.
The Brothers Bloom. Donderdag in de bioscoop. Wil jij racen in een Lamborghini? Check tmf.nl.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was trying to find a TV spot that was in American, but that's the only one I could find there. I could have put the trailer on there, but I don't know how Summon Entertainment feels about copyrights on their trailers and all that, so I just went strictly with the commercial. But this is a really good movie. This is easily the best movie of the entire week, where you have Adrian Brody and Mark Ruffalo as a pair of brothers, the Blooms, who are probably the best conmen in the world. Before they get out, they decide to have one last hustle as wine and dine an eccentric heiress played by Rachel Weisz, showing her the time of her life with a romantic adventure around the world. And there's also a mix of another woman being entered into the situation, played by Rinko Kikuchi. And yeah, it's a really, really solid film. I mean, this is a really good movie. Of course, Rian Johnson's last movie was Brick, which I thought was a masterful film. In fact, of all the films he's directed, this is probably the weakest one he's directed. But even then, it's not a bad movie. It's far from it. It's still a really good movie. The guy has very rarely missed. I mean, the Knives Out movies are great. But Star Wars The Last Jedi is pretty good. Suck it, haters. Of course, Looper. So yeah, this guy is a solid director. He knows what he's doing, and he has these great actors all across the board here to make it work. You have the late Maximilian Schell in here, Robbie Coltrane, I'm also in the cast. I mean, this is what you expect from good Rian Johnson, and the chemistry between all four of these actors works so well. I mean, it's kind of like a modern version of something like a Dirty Rotten Scoundrels with a little bit of the Blues Brothers still in there with the Rika Kikuchi character, because it feels like she's trying to go after the main characters. But, I mean, overall, yeah, this is a really solid film. It's a really good movie, probably the more underrated of the Rian Johnson movies as a whole, because everyone knows Brick, everyone knows Looper, everyone knows the Knives Out movies, and everyone knows The Last Jedi. But most people, I feel like, forget this one even exists, and it's a shame, because it's a pretty damn good movie. It's definitely one I highly recommend checking out. If you love Rian Johnson's work, you're going to love The Brothers Bloom. I liked it, so take that for what you will. The Brothers Bloom.
Hey! What are you doing? You're moving in with some ITT, bro.
ITT?
It's intent to touch, homie.
I'm sorry, last time I checked, I thought we lived in a free country, so...
No, we don't.
No?
It's the United States of don't touch that thing right in front of you.
So you're saying I can't touch
You can't remember from 4 seconds ago.
Right? I'm not allowed to do that?
I'm gonna hit you with a flashlight.
Oh, now you are threatening me.
Don't touch it.
Don't touch me with that.
You wanna see what happens when I do it one more time?
Let's see what happens.
Watch you do nothing. Let's watch you do nothing when I do this.
I've seen things you cannot imagine. Like what kind of stuff?
Good to see you, lad. It ain't Mr. Big in the britches himself.
This is the Smithsonian. This is the big leagues.
I have come back to life.
Yeah, no, I heard that. I got that. Welcome back.
Mr. Thinker, we really need someone to translate this tablet.
Thinking.
It's not happening with him.
Is that you breathing? Because I can't hear myself think. There's just too much going on here. You're an asthmatic, you're a robot. And what is the cape for? Are we going to the opera?
I don't think so.
You know, we can't all be Einstein.
I am, we are, he is, you are, me too.
And that's the way, we like it.
Great Gatsby.
Oh! Stop! Just stop! You need to concentrate on slapping the enemy.
So this is, of course, a sequel to Night at the Museum, where you have Ben Stiller returning as a night museum security guard, Larry Daly, who gets back in there just in time to find that he needs to get his friends out of trouble. The new installment takes us to the Smithsonian Institute and introduces us to new characters such as Amelia Earhart, General Custer, and many more. Amelia Earhart in this is being played by Amy Adams. General Custer is played by Bill Hader. And you have a cast that includes John Barenthal as a young Al Capone, and also a lot of the same people from the first movie are back as well. But the big new baddie in this is played by Hank Azaria, who plays Kamon Ra. Another one of those time periods where they were really trying to push Hank Azaria as the next big comedy star. I mean, they tried to do it in the past, in the 90s, when The Simpsons was just coming on. They tried to make him the next big movie star. He was in stuff like The Birdcage and Godzilla, and they had a couple of TV shows where he was trying to break out from The Simpsons in general. None of them were really that successful overall. Then he kind of went back to The Simpsons, and then around this time they tried again with him. They tried to make him the next bit, trying to make him a star again with this, and then following that he was Gargamel in the Smurf movies. And then he had a TV series on NBC, which again didn't last very long, which I've always liked Hank Azaria. I've always thought he was a very good actor in here, and as Kamon Ra, he's a pretty good villain overall. But the film itself really is one of those movies where you gotta accept the movie for what it is. You're not going in there to see some groundbreaking, incredible stuff here in general, but what you're going in there for, see all these big celebrities in here, see all these actors, and pretty much a good, fun, over-the-top movie in general. It's like the first movie overall. I mean, it's a really solid, entertaining movie. It's a very fun film. It's a film that knows exactly what it is, and it knows how to entertain its audience, and it does that very well. It's very much like the first film, with some bigger names in here, and some good chemistry between Ben Stiller and Amy Adams as they kind of build this relationship together, and there's kind of a nice little twist at the very end, in which he plays another character in the movie that you don't really see coming, and yeah, the movie itself knows exactly what it is. It's there to just be a good, fun time, and this is really something that works very well in the favor of the film coming out in the summertime. Unlike the year before, we had The Chronicles of Narnia, which that movie played better during the holiday season. This was also a holiday hit, but this movie did a pretty good job of taking away the holiday movie aspect and, you know, bringing it to one of the most notable museums in the world, the Smithsonian, and delivering a pretty good job of entertaining its audience overall. It's a very fun film. I mean, you got a scene in here where Darth Vader and Oscar the Grouch are in one scene, and it works. It's very funny, it's very silly, and it makes more sense than Kermit the Frog just randomly showing up at Mr. Magorium's Wonder Emporium. Like, why the hell is he even in there, man? It's just like, it doesn't make any sense at all, but in here, it makes sense why they're in there, because Darth Vader and Oscar the Grouch are in the Smithsonian. As far as I know, I think the Sesame Street characters are in the Smithsonian, but yeah, overall, the film is very fun. It's a very fun movie. It's not asking you to be smart with it. Just go in there, you have a good time with it, and it delivers everything it promises. It's a silly, fun movie, and it works because of that. It's a very good movie. If you like the first one, you'll definitely like the second one. So that's Night at the Museum, Battle of the Smithsonian. Let's move on to the next movie, which is definitely another very underrated movie, in my opinion. And what I think is the last good Terminator movie we ever got. This is Terminator Salvation.
I knew it. I knew it was coming. But this is not the future my mother warned me about. And in this future, I don't know if we can win this war. This is John Connor.
I mean, talk about a really good build-up for this movie. I mean, they were setting this up a year in advance. Like, that trailer was shown during The Dark Knight. You know, Christian Bale had all this buzz coming off of that movie. You know, nothing could really hurt this movie whatsoever. Absolutely nothing.
Fucking ass! I want you off the fucking set, you prick! No, don't just be sorry. Think for one fucking second. The fuck are you doing?
Yeah, you didn't think I was not going to bring that up, did you? And I'm also not going to let you forget one of the more important lines from that little rant right there.
I was looking at the light.
Oh, good for you. And how was it? I hope it was fucking good because it's useless now, isn't it?
But in his defense, that's a seasoned actor. That's an Academy Award-winning actor telling the director of Charlie's Angels to, hey, get your shit together and get these people to do what you're supposed to do. Because, like, yeah, at the time, Christian Bale was seen as the bad guy for that. And it was one of those things where it's just like it hurt the movie overall in terms of its box office. And, I mean, the guy was basically just telling the guy to just, hey, do your fucking job as a director. Like, he was telling McG what to do, and McG just didn't give a crap about it, because why should he? He's the director of the Charlie's Angels movies. Of course he's not going to give a crap about this. Even though his name is on this movie, this is supposed to be the start of a new franchise of films. And as I said before, it's definitely the last good Terminator movie, because what have we had since then? We had a Terminator reboot that completely retconned everything that happened after Terminator 1, basically pretending Terminator 2 didn't even exist, and basically throwing Arnold Schwarzenegger back in a movie where he completely felt lifeless. And then another reboot came out that completely dismantled that as well, and now we've had absolutely nothing from the Terminator series since then. But this is definitely a return to a film that is definitely what I think of when I think of a Terminator movie. This is a departure from the previous films, where you have a post-apocalyptic film set in the year 2018, focusing on the war between Skynet's machine network and humanity, and as the remnants of the world's militaries have united to form the resistance to fight against Skynet. Bill plays John Connor, a resistance fighter and central character, while Worthington plays cyborg Marcus Wright, Sam Worthington, I should say, who started in this, of course, before he found much bigger success with Avatar, which the marketing really screwed this over, because they spoiled the big twist about that character in the trailer. And I think that's also another thing that led a lot of people to stay away from this movie, which really sucks about it. But you also have Anton Yelchin, the late Anton Yelchin, playing a young Kyle Reese, of course first introduced in The Terminator, and the film depicts the origins of the T-800 Terminator. And like I said, it's definitely a film that you look at and just like, yeah, this is exactly what I want to see in a Terminator movie. This is exactly what I want to see. Like, I want to see the continuation. It's like, let's go see the Resistance instead of just rehashing the same thing we've done before. Let's see the Resistance is fighting the monsters, fighting the robots now, like in that timeline. Let's not go back in time again, because that story's been done before way too many times, and you're pushing your luck with that. And that's why Terminator Genisys and Terminator Dark Fate failed miserably at that, because they were not good movies. They were rehashing the same stuff they had done before. This one felt like it was doing something much different, much more intriguing, and could have led to something really, really good. But unfortunately, the film was a massive failure at the box office. It didn't perform the money that it should have, and they essentially canceled the trilogy that they were going to work on, and thus we got the two terrible sequels that came after that. Not even sequels, requels, and like I said, they both failed miserably. This one does not, though. This one is intense. This one is action-packed. It delivers everything you can ask for in a movie like this, and then some. This is what I wanted to see in a Terminator movie. This is what I want to see. I don't want to see Dark Fate or Genisys just completely completely destroy whatever it had before, turning characters we're supposed to like into bad guys. Like, that was the big problem with Terminator Genisys. They turned John Connor into a bad guy for no reason whatsoever, and completely ruined whatever they were going to do with that series in general. And they were supposed to continue that in a series? Like it just didn't make any sense whatsoever. And yeah, I keep talking about how bad those movies are, but it just makes I just look back at this and I think to myself, what we could have had if people had given this movie the proper respect it deserved, because it's a good movie. It's a really solid film, and really, it's one of the best things McG has ever directed. McG was not a hack director. He made some good movies at the latter half of the decade with We Are Marshall and this, and it's just like, you know, it felt like he was half-assing it during that rant right there, because it seemed like he didn't want to do his job. And it's just like, that's your job, dude. Do you want to be taken seriously as a director or not? Like, I don't give Christian Bale the blame on that whatsoever. He was telling McG to do what needed to be done to make this a movie that was going to work. But the film really is a good movie. I think it's a very good film. It's the last good Terminator movie, and one I think definitely deserves a lot of reappraisal, and I really hope that it does get that in the years to come, because would you rather watch this, or would you rather watch two reboots that have done absolutely nothing to go back to the magic that the first Terminator movie had? This one did something different, and it worked. In my opinion, it worked. So, yeah, I recommend it. Terminator Salvation. It's definitely a movie I wish you people could give another shot at, because it really was something that actually is a lot better than you believed it to be. Than you believe it to be. That's what I'm going to say. So, just sneezed before that last pause there, so that's why I'm kind of flabbergasted right now. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, and our next film is Dance Flick.
If you have a passion, if you have a dream, leave it all on the floor.
Hi, I'm Charity. I'm Megan. Oh, are you a dancer? I used to be, before my mom died.
Megan, honey, you hungry?
Megan, will you help me with my book?
Special delivery for Megan.
She's got the talent.
Do you really want to go to Julia?
Yeah.
Well, then it's on you to make your dream come true. Oh, black girls. So what you're gonna want to do is make that left, go up 3 blocks. I don't know you.
He's got the drive.
Well, let's do it. Look, man, they ain't no I in team. There ain't? No. What about group? Not group either. Crew. Gang. No. Ensemble. You just mispronounced that word to make it sound like it had an I in it.
Now, that is how you do a spoof movie. I mean, you're taking stuff from a specific genre. You're not just doing every genre in general. And you get a mostly funny movie out of it. This is the Wayans brothers returning to what makes them work in general. You have a suburban girl, played by Shoshana Bush, who gets into a series of misadventures when she moves to the inner city and pursues dance. A nerdy street boy named Thomas Uncles, played by Damon Wayans Jr., is passionate about street dancing, but he is stuck working for a gang lord, played by David Allen Greer. Megan later befriends Thomas's sister, played by Essence Atkins, who has a baby and poor parenting skills. Charity has her own issues dealing with her dim-witted baby daddy, played by Shawn Wayans, who is also a bad parent. Once Megan and Thomas spend more time together, they become dance partners and begin to fall in love. So essentially, you've got parodies of, say, The Last Dance, Hairspray, the Step Up movies, You Got Served, all these dance movies that were coming out in this decade. And unlike the movies of Friedberg and Seltzer, unlike some of the really bad Zucker movies that we got, American Carol, this movie delivered what it needs to do to make you laugh out loud. And there's some good laugh out loud moments in this movie. I mean, this is a funny movie. This is a really solid film. Not every joke works. Every once in a while there's a joke that comes around that really isn't all that funny, or just them kind of stretching it because I feel like the studio forced them to do the jokes that were in the Friedberg Seltzer movies in general. But this film works because it's the Wayans brothers doing what the Wayans brothers does best. This is why the scary movie films became as popular as they were, because this is what the Wayans brothers did with the scary movie films, and doing that with the horror genre. Now they're doing it with the dance genre. Like, make fun of the stuff. Do not be afraid to play it safe. Don't do the shit they did with Vampire Suck the year later, which was Friedberg and Seltzer doing that, and pretend like you're gonna spoof it and satirize it. But no, you don't want to satirize it because we don't want to offend anybody who likes those movies in general. They should be offended because they should be offended by the fact that they like that movie to begin with. But this movie is smart for the most part to do exactly what it needs to do to make you laugh out loud. And there are moments in here that legitimately make me laugh out loud. There's a lot of funny moments in here, a lot of funny people in here. This is just such a great movie. Great's maybe a stretch. It's a good movie overall. I'm not gonna say great, but like I said, it's a flawed film. It definitely has moments that aren't as strong. But would you rather have this than have to sit through another stupid Friedberg Seltzer spoof movie? I think the answer to that is yes. So that's Dance Flick. So let's go ahead and wrap this up, taking a look at the last film we have here. One of Steven Soderbergh's more underrated films, starring, of all people, a porn star. This is The Girlfriend Experience. So the Girlfriend Experience is the story about, it's basically it takes place during the lead up to the 2008 election, where you have a high-end Manhattan escort played by porn star Sasha Grey, who meets the challenges of her boyfriend, her clients, and her work. Chelsea, real name Christine, specializes in offering girlfriend experiences. She finds that lately her clients are spending less and less on her services and are troubled by the Great Recession, because we had the Great Recession at that time, a topic that they raise frequently in her company. She's also interviewed by a journalist who questions her about her work and personal life, and she goes from client to client to perform her services. And Steven Soderbergh has been on a roll with these movies. I mean, he very rarely misses. Like, every once in a while, we'll have one bad movie, like Contagion's an example of that. But, you know, this year, he had two really solid films in Presence and Black Bag. Black Bag, I think, is probably up there with one of my favorite movies of the year. I love that movie. I haven't gotten a chance to talk about it yet, since I just saw it not too long ago, but it's really one of my favorite films of the year. Cate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender are great in that movie, but we'll save that for another time. This movie works really well. It's a really slick, cool-looking indie film, and you know, Sasha Grey really does give a really solid performance in a more mainstream role than what she was doing at that time. And this movie was a success overall. It did very well to actually spawn a television series that ran for a couple of seasons on Starz, so it has a legacy to it overall. But most people, I don't think, remember that this is actually based off of a movie, and that show's based off of a movie, and a really good movie at that, tying into the events of the time period, never feeling like it's dated in any way, shape, or form, but it's a really solid movie, and it works very well because the leading actress is so good in here, and her situations in here are very complex and very compelling. Like, you do get invested in why she does this. You do get invested in the storyline. It just works really well. It's a very engaging film. It's a very well-made, well-intelligent film. Intelligently, Toyboat? It's a well-made, intelligent, well-done film. That's what I'm trying to say. Bottom line, check out The Girlfriend Experience. If you like Steven Soderbergh's work, you'll definitely enjoy it. That's all I want to say from that one.
Over the years, they've taken you on amazing journeys to worlds you've never imagined. Wow. And places you've only dreamed of. This summer, Disney Pixar will take you on their next great adventure with Carl Fredricksen. And he won't even have to leave his house. This summer, journey to a lost world. With these guys.
Hi, Mr. Fredricksen. Please let me in.
No.
All right. Disney Pixar's Up.
Sadly, we don't have the alternate version where Carl Fredricksen basically just decides to let Russell just die out there, and eventually he'll fall off there and fall out of the sky and all that. I mean, sadly, that version does not exist. Maybe if they make the live-action remake, that'll probably happen. But you know you're in for a treat when Disney and Pixar have to remind you of their great works from the past, and they were on a roll at that point. I mean, Cars was their weakest film, but how can you not get excited when you see all those classic movies right there? And yeah. Little did we know that this was going to be another classic film, and maybe even one of their best movies in general. Like, this really is up there with some of their masterpieces, and really, it just starts right from the get-go. But the story of this is that you have Carl Fredricksen, played by Ed Asner, who's an elderly widower who travels to South America with his youngster Russell, in order to fulfill the promise that he made to his late wife. In the jungle, they encounter an exotic bird and oppose Carl's childhood idol, played by Christopher Plummer, who has sinister plans to capture the bird. And he has these dogs, and it's just very chaotic situation that I'll get into in just a second, but really, there's not much more I could say about this movie that hasn't already been said about already. It's just such an incredible film. From the first 10 minutes alone, literally the first 10 minutes is like a short film in its own right. You have this incredible story about how Carl met this girl when he was 10 years old. Little did they know that, Carl's, he's an adventurer. He idolizes the famed explorer Charles Muntz, and then he befriends Ellie, who becomes his wife, and they eventually become friends, and all of a sudden they become married, and it's all this, and they have like a miscarriage, and there's just all this stuff is going on, and me describing it really is doing it a disservice. You got to check it out for yourself, because it literally is a 10-minute short film on its own merits. Like, this is the type of thing that they make short films off of, not as part of a movie. And usually that would be like the end of the good stuff in the movie, but far from it. I mean, when he gets older, I mean, that's where there's still a lot of good stuff overall in the film, and it just is such a really entertaining film all across the board. All the characters are great in here. Russell is a fun kid character. Doug comes into play here. This dog that follows them, and he's played very well by Bob Peterson. The villain is pretty fun overall, and his dogs are so good. Like, the genius of how they put these dogs in this movie, like, they look diabolical and evil, and then you have to throw in, and then one of them, the main dog, has like his voice chip is all messed up, so instead of sounding all menacingly, he sounds like his voice is squeaked up, and it's just like it's just so fun to watch overall. Like, the movie, it knows that it could be both funny and set and dramatic, and also it just works on so many levels, on so many wavelengths, and it's just, I'm just kind of rambling on right now, but I really don't need to say much more about this movie that hasn't already been said. It's a damn good movie. A great score by Michael Giacchino. I mean, this is one of Pixar's best movies. It really is one of the best movies Pixar's ever made. And really, I don't think it's much of a surprise. It says a lot when this became the second animated feature to be nominated for Best Picture. But then again, this was when they were starting to do the 10 nominees, so people wouldn't get pissed off at the fact that there was only 5, and they missed out on movies like The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight, or WALL-E, like they did last year. But either way, at least that they're acknowledging that this is a good movie that deserved to be up there with the best pictures of the year, even though it didn't win. But regardless, it is still one of the great animated films of all time. It's another one of Pixar's magnum opuses. Up, man. What more can you say? It's a great movie. If you have not seen it now, I don't know why you haven't, but get your ass out of your seat and go see it, because, yeah, I mean, it's kind of cliche for me to say this, but you are doing yourself a huge disservice by missing out on this film. Well, you can also say the same thing about our next movie, but at least I understand why most people kind of overlooked it at first. This is Sam Raimi's latest film, Drag Me to Hell.
Christine Brown has a great job.
This is very impressive work.
Thank you.
A loving boyfriend.
You look beautiful.
And only 3 days to live. From the director of Spider-Man, someone has cursed you, and the Evil Dead trilogy.
What's the matter?
Did you hear that?
On May 29th,
I will come to take you.
even nice people can go to hell. Drag Me to Hell, rated PG-13, May 29th.
So I think their first mistake on this was releasing this right in the middle of the summertime. I mean, to put this out in the summertime, I mean, yeah, Sam Raimi's name is attached to it. Yeah, he's a big name with the Spider-Man movies and the Evil Dead films, but it's hard to sell an original horror film like this in the summertime. And luckily, it did make money overall. It did do well. I mean, it made back 3 times its budget, so it... Yeah, 3 times its budget. I was about to say, I think I got the math wrong, but no. It made $90 million over a $30 million budget, so it was a big hit in terms of its budget. It was a critical success as well, but kind of back then, it didn't feel like it was a big hit compared to all the other blockbusters coming out at the time. It wasn't a blockbuster movie, and it certainly paled in comparison to the Spider-Man's box office numbers, but that was kind of to be expected overall. But it's a good cautionary tale. It's a story about a lone officer played by Alison Lohman who, because she has to prove to her boss that she can make the hard decisions at work, choosing not to extend an elderly woman's mortgage. The old woman places a retaliatory curse on her that, after 3 days of escalating torment, will plunge her into the depths of hell to burn for eternity. And that's the great thing about this movie, is the fact that Alison Lohman's character isn't a scumbag. I mean, the trailer even says it herself. It's just like, even nice people can go to hell. And, I mean, yeah, she's trying to do it so she can prove to her boss, played by David Paymer, that, hey, I can make hard decisions, and that's kind of what David Paymer kind of lets on beforehand. And it's a really difficult decision. I mean, you have to make a decision there. Like, you could help the old woman out, but you also have to realize that you have to do your job. Like, you can't be Mr. Incredible and just pretend like you can't help him and be like, yeah, you just help him out on the side, because sooner or later you're going to get in trouble for it. And so, yeah, I can understand the situation she's in. She doesn't know exactly what to do. She thinks she makes the right decision, and of course, it ends up backfiring on her in a big way, and the movie doesn't back down from it. There's no happy ending at the end of it. No, she literally goes to hell at the end of the movie, and that's how the film ends. And I just love the fact that they went for it. They went all in. It's Sam Raimi doing what Sam Raimi does best. Universal basically just let themselves step aside, let Sam Raimi do what he wants to do, and they made a great film out of it. This is a really damn good movie. It's a film that does honestly keep you on the edge of your seat. You do wonder how it's going to end, and I like the fact that they didn't sugarcoat the ending overall. Like, I like the fact that they went deep with it, and it works. It's a very damn good movie, and one that definitely deserves a lot more attention, which I'm glad to see. I want to assume I'm glad it is getting more attention, because we just had, you know, it did well when it came out, but then kind of faded out of obscurity for a little bit. But as of late, there is a little bit of a resurgence of it, if you will. Mostly in large part thanks to Shout Factory releasing it on 4K for the first time. And in fact, the Steelbook is coming out just around the time that I'm doing this. So, yeah, so a new generation is finding this movie, and they should, because it is a good movie. It's a good cautionary tale about, you know, you could think that you're advancing your career, but at the same time, you better be damn well prepared to face the consequences of your actions, as Alison Lohman in this movie unfortunately has to suffer. And as I said before, the trailer said it best, you know, even nice people can go to hell. I mean, it's a good cautionary tale, and it's a really good movie. I mean, there's not much more I can add to it that I haven't already said already, and yeah, it's one you should definitely check out. If you love Sam Raimi's work, the Drag Me to Hell is one you should definitely check out.